This podcast is brought to you by Enlightening Learners Academic Coaching and Tutoring Services.
In this presentation, we're going to learn how to identify equations as relations and to be able to solve linear equations for a given domain. Your guided questions. How do you use a chart to determine if given values are solutions of a given equation? Demonstrate how to correctly substitute values for either x or y and simplify to get the correct value of an unknown. And finally, determine if a given set of ordered pairs is a solution of an equation. So typically, you want to create a table to determine if a solution is true or false. And you want to have a place to put your x values. You want to have a place to put your y values. You want a place to identify your equation and your substitution. And then finally, you want to determine if a point is true or false. And let's have an example. So in this equation, we have an equation y equals 2x minus 1. And we've been given these set of ordered pairs. We've been given three sets of ordered pairs, 0, 1, 2, 3, and negative 1, 1. We want to plug in our x values in for x, and then we want to simplify and get our y. So an example would be I substitute x. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is a negative 1. My y value, which is a 1, goes in this space here when I substitute. And 1 does not equal 1. So my answer is false. It's not that point is not part of this equation. So we plug in this value, 2, 3. Again, we substitute our x's and our y's, and we simplify. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3, and 3 does equal 3. This is a true equation. This point does work with this equation. And finally, I plug in my last ordered pair, negative 1, 1. Again, I substitute my negative 1 for my x. I substitute my positive 1 for y, and I simplify. 2 times a negative 1 is a negative 2. Negative 2 minus 1 is a negative 3. Well, 1 does not equal 3. So it's a false point. Alright, so we're given this domain. We're given these points to plug in. And we want to find out what our y's are. So I've started my table here. I substitute my negative 3, 0, 2, 6, and 8 for my x's, and I need to solve for my y. So I want to work on this equation, and I'm substituting negative 3. And negative 3 times a third is a negative 1. So my point is negative 3, negative 1. And then I'm going to do that again. Y equals 1/3, this time of 0. And 0 times 1 is 0. 0 divided by 3 is 0. So y equals 0. My second point is 0, 0. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to substitute 2. And this becomes 2/3. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. So when I plug in a 2, I get out a 2/3. I substitute y equals 1/3 of 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. When x is 6, y is 2. And I'm just going to write it over here, 6, 2. And finally, I plug in an 8. 1/3 of 8. Well, this becomes 8 over 3, which is 2 with 2 left over. So 2 and 2/3. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 divided by 3 is 3. I could leave it as 8 over 3. That seems a little bit strange to be able to graph, so I'm going to convert it to a proper fraction, or compound fraction. 3 goes into 8 twice with 2 left over. So it's 2 2/3. Now if I wanted to go ahead and graph these, I could. So just to start my graph, it would look something like this. I want to plot each of these points. Here's 0, 0. I'll just plot that one. -3, -1 goes to the left 3 and down 1. And now it's -3, 1. 6 and 2 is to the right 6. And up 2. And 2 2/3 is going to be to the right 2. Up, not quite to 1. And finally 8 2/3 would be somewhere over here. Notice that they always form a line. If your equation does not form a straight line, you've done something wrong.